Welcome to the Nomiki Show. I am Nomiki Const. On day 106 of self-quarantine. And here we are. We're not even done with the first wave. I'm in Arizona. This is a special show this week because I'm leaving. I'm going back to New York. For those who've been following along the way, I have been self-quarantining, isolating in Arizona with my family and taking care of loved ones who are immunocompromised. But I got to get back to New York because I have an apartment. And so I have my own business to deal with. It's been nerve-wracking because like so many other folks who have been separated from their families, from their homes, have been caught in places, whether intentionally or not, it's really hard to figure out how to get back home. And now Tucson, where I've been, as much as the rest of Arizona, is the hotspot for COVID. I went from Queens, one hotspot, to another. And it's alarmingly apparent that it is related to the lack of leadership in this state, how the right-wing state government, the governor, insisted on prematurely opening up the economy, and how folks here, because they hadn't been personally affected by COVID, were denying that it exists and still are denying it exists. And as a result, you had a lockdown here. We had curfews to a sudden opening up of the economy where people are getting together in mass gatherings, going to mega churches, to Trump rallies. And now you have an alarming rate of COVID cases with no hospital beds or ventilators, the way that we saw a few weeks ago in other parts of the country with big cities. It's undeniable that it's tied to the economy opening up, and they didn't have phases of opening it up. And there are people, of course, like the rest of the country, who refuse to wear masks. So I am about to take a flight to New York, and I will be covering myself in all the ways I can with a regular medical mask and a bandana and then a plastic covering on top, because this is the new normal. And I'm hoping that when I arrive, everyone around me is safe getting off the plane and that we're okay. But it's unfortunate that we're not even done with the first phase. And this is expected to go on much longer because there are a group of people in this country who refuse to take personal responsibility in that they affect other people's lives. And I think this is about something much, much deeper in that. Remember when Donald Trump got elected and folks were like, well, how could they believe what he was saying? How could a segment of the population that may have actually voted for Barack Obama at one point suddenly vote for Donald Trump? And it all came down to the Rust Belt. The Rust Belt, which had their jobs, pushed out of the country, really, in favor of trade deals, but not to Mexicans, not to people of color, the way Donald Trump pointed his fingers. It was because of neoliberal and neoconservative trade deals. And Trump was critical of those as well. But what happened was Donald Trump used the economic anxiety of a group of folks who were older, who came up in a different era, and he pointed at the others. This is a classic case. They do this, this has happened throughout history. It is a tool of fascism. You point at the others so that whatever insecurity you are feeling in your life, you can point it to somebody else so you could feel a little bit more control. Now, here we are in COVID, and the masks have become another form of that. For people to say, oh, I can't breathe because of the mask, or it's infringing on my freedom. I mean, there's so many ridiculous arguments being made right now by these COVID deniers. But it really is a symbol of something else. If you look at the folks who are angry about government forcing mask use or businesses forcing mask use, they tend to be, there's an overlap between the folks who are angry at the protesters for all of the extreme COVID deniers who are saying that they can't breathe with a mask. I wonder how many were listening to I Can't Breathe when countless Black men and women have been brutalized by the police, who are put into chokeholds. Or I Want My Mommy, Were they hearing that at that time? Oh no, but they were violating the law. That's their excuse. They were violating the law. It was justified. Well, now you are violating the law. You are violating the law. But we, the believers in science, we will not push that kind of pressure on you. We don't act the way the worst people in society do. They're exercising their lack of control, their lack of power in their own lives in the most extraordinarily dangerous way. They know. It's like a God syndrome. They know they're not using a mask is a way to exercise control in a situation that is extraordinarily out of control. That is the backdrop of Black Lives Matter protests. It's the backdrop of economic anxiety. They are using this little thing that they think they can control. And unfortunately, it is affecting our public safety. So what is it going to take for our government? What is it going to take for folks to show up and wear masks, whether kindly asked or not? I went into a drugstore today, and there was a woman not wearing a mask. And when she went to go purchase her goods at the counter, the lovely woman, the salesperson, said, next time you show up, you have to wear a mask. It's by law. This is in Arizona. And the woman says, well, I have a lot of breathing issues and I can't do it. Stay home. Stay home. You are putting everybody around you at risk. You are putting my family members at risk, even though I have my mask on. Stay home. I can't believe how many times we have to say this to people. You wear a wet mask, I wear a mask. The risk of transaction goes down up to 80%. The protests that were all over the country where most people were wearing masks compared to the Trump rallies. And you see that the protests did not lead to a spike in cases. If you're not wearing a mask, stay home. It is mind-boggling to me how many people, despite the abundance of information and news coverage, still do not understand how this disease, how this virus is transmitted. Why do we have to keep repeating this? The most vulnerable people in this country are at risk because of the most ignorant people. Stay home if you don't wear a mask. You've got Amazon, and I don't usually advocate for using Amazon if you have to buy whatever it is. If you feel out of control in your life, maybe this isn't the aspect where you should exert control. Just saying. On this week's show, we have Lynette Lopez, who talks to us about Elon Musk and how he runs his businesses. She's been covering Elon Musk for the last few years, and she covers Wall Street as well. She's a big critic of the doings of Wall Street, and she does great reporting for Business Insider. And then afterwards, we have artist Awkward, who has organized a set of demands with other activists against our government, our city government, urging them to take quick, vast action to lead us towards abolition. So it's a really interesting show. I'll be chiming in from New York throughout the week, so make sure to check in on our live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel. If you're not already, please join us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for as low as $5 a month. And we now have swag, we have stickers, and we have tote bags. I'll grab one down here. For those of you watching on camera, we have these really cool tote bags. Go to thenomikishow.com, and we have mugs as well. Thank you for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. Make sure to click like and subscribe on YouTube and share with everybody on social media. And of course, if you're not a patron already, please join us on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for as low as $5 a month. That money makes a huge difference. We don't have the corporate money coming in. We're not cable news that's raking in the dough from advertisers right now as everybody's sitting at home and watching. It is really you guys who are keeping us together. So please consider being a patron. And for those of you who have already, we are incredibly grateful to you.